County. More request background check. Is anybody back there? I need a supervisor. I need a supervisor.
Our communication's done.
I need a supervisor.
Okay.
Okay. So you're denying me service?
I'm not denying you anything.
You're denying me service?
I'm protecting my information, that's all.
Okay, so can I get a supervisor? Yes or no? For the record. Can I get a supervisor? This is the police station, ladies and gentlemen. That is like Nazi Germany. They arrest you for retaliation. They don't answer questions. They don't treat the public with respect, and they do whatever they want. So I guess we'll just sit here until our tax dollars are back at work. Are you stalking me? Are you stalking me? Do you have a call to follow me? Me? All right, why don't you go back to work? You know there was a shooting at Wendy's. Why don't you guys go figure that out? Okay, go solve some real crime. Go cross some real crime. Okay, go solve it. There's some real crime in Lockport, not cameras. Yeah, you too, stop following me. Stop following me.
Back at it with another update on the corruption down in Lockport, and this corruption is brought to you today on behalf of Chief Abbott, the leader of the corruption squad down there known as the police department.
Listen, y'all, these kids want to act up in school, want to go to school and embarrass you, want to make like they ain't got no home training. So I told my son, don't go to school embarrassing no more. I take care of you, son. I give you anything you want. I discipline you. But you're going to embarrass me like this? No, so now I'm going to cut his hair.
Oh, I'm going to have to ask you.
Okay.
Hey, do me a favor. Wait for the SWAT guys.
Now I saw you were in a restricted area. Now I want your identification.
You're not getting it.
Don't embarrass me. I told him, don't embarrass me. No.
All right, Erie County fam, let's go ahead and take a look at this new set of corruption and dodging accountability and lack of transparency in our government. And this today is brought to you by the one and only leader of corruption here in Lockport, New York, Stephen Abbott. So let's go ahead and take a look at his sworn statement of the Lockport Police Department on his sworn affidavit to try to dismiss the lawsuit for the body camera footage inside that lobby that he is so desperately trying to hide and cover up what those people said in there. And you're going to be shocked what he had to say about why and what he knows that these people said something that he's trying to cover up super hard. It's almost disgusting, but let's go ahead and get into it. He just says that his duties include oversight of the police department and all the different things, including reviewing FOIA requests related to the police department. On or about February 15th, petitioner, which is me, auditing Erie County, submitted a FOIA request asking for all unredacted, unedited, body-worn camera footage of Officer Mayo and Officer Streckwald on February 14th from the Labor Department. I also requested all Axon audit trail footage and data file information for both officers' footage, which, if you guys don't know what Axon audit trail is, that shows you when the video was uploaded, who looked at it, how many times they looked at it. It shows everything, including edits, if they deleted it, when they deleted it, and who deleted it. So I also requested that incident police report and submitted that on the 15th of February. Based on his review, in consulting with the city's legal department, he recommended the respondent deny the said FOIA request because they are compiled for law enforcement purposes. So body camera footage, even though it's public record, it's not for the public because it's compiled for law enforcement purposes, which is one of the dumbest things I ever heard, because I know everybody watching these videos has seen lots and lots of body camera footage in their time that were public records and given to the public. He also said there may be relevant to a pending law enforcement investigation, which he's going to elaborate here a little more on what his opinion of may be relative to a pending law enforcement investigation. So his interpretation of that is pretty outrageous in itself. As a background to the court, he starts to talk about J6 stuff and how I had charges in the past, which has absolutely nothing to do with his FOIA request. He put all the conditions in here for the Article 78 lawsuit for the body camera. So for some reason, he thinks because I was arrested for J6 that is relevant to getting body camera footage for the news channel of auditing Erie County. And then he goes on to talk about January 17th, 4 days after being released from jail, petitioner was involved in another incident in the Rath building. So for filling out another FOIA request and another bogus employee like Jeremy Toth, who wouldn't give a photocopy. Now, this is somehow relevant to his case here, but, you know, maybe he's just trying to muddy the waters. He thinks that that's going to make it relevant to the case of why he should not have to give up public records. Something about my past should be relevant here. I don't understand it, but upon further brief, the judge was asked by Toth to change my probation conditions to keep me from doing First Amendment audits or for audio recording or video recording public servants. And he says here, upon information on the brief, the federal judge did not immediately make a decision regarding the request, instead asked for further briefing on the issue. Then he goes on to talk about something else without mentioning that the judge said, no, that was too broad, that stopping Mr. Wormers from going to somewhere like Mr. Toth's office or, you know, the city clerk's office to file paperwork or video record in those offices would be violations of my First Amendment rights. He seemed to leave that out. I think that's pretty important if he's going to mention that he should have put that in. On February 14th, petitioner visited the New York State Department of Labor in the city of Lockport. He proceeded to video record and verbally disagree with the staff working at the Department of Labor when they said that I could not video record in a public lobby. Well, we all know we can. As a matter of fact, the video proved that we can because they called the police. The police came, told them I could, and the police went about their way without any incident. I recently reviewed the video, and this incident uploaded to Petitioner Wormus on his YouTube channel. In the video, Mr. Wormus acknowledges that he had no business purpose whatsoever at the Department of Labor. Let's go ahead and see what I acknowledged and the reason I was there. Let's go ahead and take a look.
No, I don't need any help. I'm just here to take some photographs of the lobby.
For?
Oh, I'm working on the Labor Department.
Okay.
Right?
You are from the Labor Department?
No, I'm the independent journalist just working on a story on the Labor Department.
Okay, I don't know about pictures in here. Can you mind if I get approval real quick? I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to double check, you're more than welcome to, but I'm telling you, it's all right.
Thank you. Let me just... Job service specifically, or the whole department? Or?
Just what's available for the public.
Rather, that he states that he's there to investigate the extent to which he is permitted to video record in common areas of a public building. What did you guys hear? Did you guys hear me tell him I'm here to investigate something, or did you hear that I was there to work on a story about the Labor Department and all the information available? And then you see me proceed to video record the stuff on the walls. So to say that I had no business purpose whatsoever at the Labor Department is a blatant lie. Oh, wait, Lockport telling more lies, guys. We didn't see that coming, Chief. Liar Chief Abbott over here. We didn't see that coming. Dang. Another lie. He writes here, despite the request from the staff working there, Wormus refused to leave. till his story was finished, right? That I would believe as soon as I was done with my story. The police were contacted and 2 Lockport police officers responded. Wormus, although peaceful in video, was clearly interrupting the employees' workdays. Let's go ahead and take a look at my actions there so you guys can see me interrupt their workdays.
So I pretty much finished my business here. Maybe I don't know if I got this
with your
billboard here, but I don't want to run and leave if the police are coming. You know what I mean?
Well, they know you're here. They've been informed.
Look at that. I was video recording the documents on the walls quietly, and even the chief writes peacefully in video. Clearly, peacefully exercising constitutional rights is clearly interrupting the employee's workday. Because I was so... I was holding that camera so tightly and video recording those public documents for dissemination to the public. It was so clearly interrupting to the employee's workday. But let's move on here. 17. The police officer spoke to Wormus on their body-worn cameras operating. Importantly, Wormus was recording the police officer the entire time. There was one point in which an officer stepped in the back area to have a discussion with an employee at the Department of Labor. Wormus was not privy to those conversations. So what Chief Abbott here is saying is that I was not privy because there are secret government conversations going on here in the back room. The secret government that Chief Abbott runs with his police department and throughout the city of Lockport, secret government is what it's all about here, fam. He's going to go ahead and admit that there's secret government. We are not entitled to know what is being discussed in private areas because it is secret government. It should be noted that body-worn cameras by the police are created records that are compiled for law enforcement purposes. I don't know about you, Chief. I mean, being chief of police, I would think that you would have general knowledge that everything the government does is public record. Body cameras, security cameras, the notes you guys write, the tickets you guys write, everything and anything that you guys do while working for the government, because the government works for the people. The people are the boss, the government work for them. It doesn't work the other way around, but apparently in secret government, corrupt, lying Lockport, Chief doesn't understand the way things work. I mean, the obvious proof is that, Chief, there's a lot of body camera footage out on the internet through, First Amendment audit channels and other places, and it's clearly compiled for law enforcement purposes, but that doesn't exempt it from the public because the public owns it. They own the badge on your chest, Chief. They own the shirt on your chest, Chief. They own the gun on your hip, Chief. Everything is owned by the public. It's a public entity. The government does not own any of that. You guys seem to forget that, and that's where the disconnect comes from the people to the police, where they think they own everything, right down to the people and constituents they serve. Yet you guys have this notion that it's not that way, but that's the facts. You guys having this attitude is what spawned First Amendment auditors and people going out and reclaiming what belongs to the people. So this lawsuit is for you, Chief, because your arrogance and your ego and your lying tongue. Let's go ahead and move on here. Despite the police presence, Wormus still refused to leave the property. Ooh, the big bad police. Are we supposed to be scared of the police, Chief? Chief, are we supposed to be scared of the police? Is that we're supposed to run when the police come? Aren't they there to protect and serve? Aren't they there to protect my constitutional rights to video record in public and work on a story on the Labor Department? Aren't they there for that? Or are we supposed to run scared from the police? Ooh, despite police presence, Wormus still refused to leave the public property. Go figure. Once he stepped out of the building, Wormus insisted on a call number from the officers. The officers respectfully informed Warmus, who refused to provide him with his name. Well, Chief, I'm sure you know what the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution is. I am secured in my personal effects, my documents, and that includes my first and last name. Now, in this video, I'm sure I introduced myself as Dan, so you all know my name was Dan, so I didn't refuse to give a name. I did refuse to give a last name because, I have a Fourth Amendment right not to give it to you. So to say that, Warmus refused to provide them with his name, well, my name is none of your business. There was no crime committed. There was no need for a criminal investigation that day. The only criminal investigation is, it's you, Chief, and your lying tongue. Lying Lockport. He has to retain the call number, and the police told him he can obtain the call number at the police department headquarters. Warmus was not satisfied with this response and eventually peering into a Lockport police vehicle to take a video of a computer screen inside. Well, it is public information to get that call number. You guys had it readily available, but this officer's ego just kicked in and wouldn't let me have it. So I figured, hey, maybe it was on the screen and I could have had it. But I mean, if the police officers were doing their job and due diligence to keep people's personal information out of the public view, I would have walked to that computer screen and found the computer screen was closed or out of a mode that would show personal information. So the chief says here, the information on that computer screen was not related to Warmus's incident. In fact, it contained information regarding an unrelated harassment matter of the city of Lockport. Oh, you're saying you guys left personal information of somebody else's harassment matter out for the public to see. Oh, that's my fault because you guys wouldn't give the call number and you guys left personal information out. So, as we all know, it is a constitutional right to video record anything the eye can see from a public place, including the sidewalk where the officer left his screen wide open for public viewing. But therefore, the city received a full request for the person's residents residing outside New York State for the police report regarding the unrelated harassment matter that was on the computer screen of the police vehicle that the police left in public view. Somehow I got this information that should have been covered up by them because we all know the onus is on them to cover it up. I'll tell you one thing we do know. The Lockport police denied that guy's full request for the police report in the public records because we know lying Lockport doesn't like to have any type of transparency in their government. They rule with the iron fist. So we know that, this guy may have full requested that number, probably assuming it was the number for the case that they were there for me. But, instead they just left somebody else's information. But we all know Lockport denied that full request. That's almost a guarantee because there's not much transparency going on there. Despite the fact that Warmus was recording the entire time, he asked the officers whether they had been recording the entire time. It's funny, Chief, that we have to check up on you guys and ask, were you recording? Did you mute your body camera? Why would we have to ask that, Chief? You know why? Because you lie. You guys lie, nonstop lie. Your affidavit here is riddled with more lies and misinformation, and you guys lie. So I have to ask them on the spot, did you mute the body camera? Was it on? And I have to catch them off guard so they say yes. So when I do that full request and it comes back redacted or edited, we all know that they messed with the camera footage. We have to take precautions like asking, was your body camera on? Because you guys lie. You're liars, complete liars. It's lying Lockport. Why wouldn't I have to check up on you guys? You guys proved to be lying Lockport. Upon informing and briefing, Warmus seek to determine whether the conversation in the clerk's office and the labor department were recorded on the body camera footage. Yeah, because you lie in Lockport. Why else would I have to ask that question? Wouldn't it be great in a world where I wouldn't have to ask you if you guys were lying, or I wouldn't have to trick you guys into telling the truth? I mean, people are supposed to trust the law enforcement, but here we got lying Lockport. I was inquiring whether the Department of Probation would need the same information requested by Warmus, relevant to his supervision of Warmus during his probationary period, requesting information restricting his conditions from probation. I'm not going to break the law. I'm not going to do anything that would violate my probation. I'm not a lawbreaker. I'm not a liar. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a liar. Furthermore, that line below, I was concerned the identity of the employees of the Department of Labor who had given statements outside of the presence of Warmus would be disclosed on his YouTube channel as further delined below. Oh, you're afraid that public servants, whose names are public information, will get out to the public. Geez, what a concern that public servants, taking that job as a public servant, might have their name out to the public. I mean, that is public information. Oh, wait, their salaries are public information too. We can have that and post it and put it on a YouTube channel. Warmus often releases identities of public employees on his videos on YouTube channel. You're saying that the people who work for us and take a public position as a public employee, their public name is released to the public? Jeez. Thereafter, these public employees are bombarded with barrages of condescending verbal attacks and threats from Warmus's followers. Wait a minute. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens to an employee who is not only polite, they respect the public, they treat them with respect, and they're very nice. Let's go ahead and take a look what that looks like and what the calls for that look like.
Good afternoon, Supervisor's Office. Christine speaking.
Hey, Christine. This is Dan from Auditing Erie County.
Dan?
Yes. Dan from Auditing Erie County. I was in there working on a story a month or so ago. I was just wondering if the supervisor was available to speak to.
No, I'm afraid he's not. He's going to be out of the office for the next few days, so can I have him give you a call back when he gets back in?
Yeah, you probably could, but maybe I could ask you a few questions. The question is, did you guys get massive amounts of phone calls of people complaining about that video?
No.
Did you get any phone calls that would have been, or emails that, gave you compliments?
Yes. I mean, I didn't really hear anything negative, honestly.
Did you hear some positive?
My take on it, I actually took a phone call. I fielded one of the phone calls from someone that called, I believe, from Washington State, actually saying that they thought it was a very good video and that they were, really impressed by the way everybody handled everything, and they thought it was a positive video to show, of going into a public,
The government says that I go into government buildings and manufacture disturbances for clicks and views on YouTube.
Gotcha.
So would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I mean, we didn't have a negative experience here, so...
So you would disagree that I tried to manufacture a disturbance that day?
Correct, yeah.
The government's trying to paint a bad picture of what I do, but the problem is
we wouldn't be a good example of that. So I went back and looked through, because honestly, before that I hadn't. So I just watched the video, and then heard other people got phone calls, and then when I actually got one myself, it was just a nice surprise.
As you can see, Erie County fam, that lady was very happy to get awesome calls that were of compliments because they did such a great job. The public is really sick of seeing piss poor public employees like lying Lockport clerks and lying Lockport Chief of Police Abbott here. Chief says here, my fear was that releasing the statements and identities of the Department of Labor employees would cause extreme levels of threat and intimidation to them. This would likely inhibit the employees' willingness to cooperate in any further investigations and thereof interfering with the investigation. All right. So what the chief is saying here is if the public servants lie, if they make stuff up, and then the public redress their grievances and catch these people lying, they're less likely to lie in the future. And the chief clearly needs people to lie for him, is what he's saying here. And that's how, when it says that it would interfere with police investigations, that's what the chief is referring to. There's no investigation of any crime that happened on the 14th, where he's saying that I can't have this because it may be part of ongoing investigations. The chief's idea here which is out there. It's way out there, guys. Is that his fear that releasing the identities and the employees would cause extreme levels of threats and intimidation to them. This would likely inhibit the employees' willingness to cooperate in any further investigations and thereby interfering with the investigations. Now, that's unbelievable. So if the people get caught in their lies and they lie about things, then they're going to get redressed. That is a constitutional right. That is a First Amendment constitutional right for people to redress their grievances to the government. I don't tell people to do it. People get aggravated with seeing lying Lockport continuously lie. We got 4 clerks lying through their teeth. We got a chief of police who's a complete traitor to the people and a lying thief, stealing tax money for a paycheck while lying to the public. It's ridiculous. And he wants to say that people's willingness for further investigations to, lie for him, he wants to cover that up by, writing this affidavit to get rid of that likelihood that I could find out what lies and what they said in the back room, which is public record because they made it. But hey, for these reasons, the FOIA request made by Mr. Warmus was denied pursuant to the exceptions and provisions of the Public Officers Law. So his totally weak, imaginary interpretation of that law, guys, tell me what you think about that in the comment section. Please do. I want to hear what you guys think about in that comment section, that if it's released them lying on camera or saying something bad, they're not going to lie for him in the future. And that's how he's interpreting that. It would inhibit the investigations in pending law enforcement investigation in the future. These don't even exist. He just wants these people to lie for him in the future, so he's going to protect them so they can lie. Lying Lockport, who at it again. Warmus then commenced to insist litigation. I must note, though, that Warmus unnecessarily accomplished the process server in the matter of August 18th on 2023, and again proceeded to video record the staff of City Hall in Lockport before the staff while they were being served. He says it's unnecessary, but it's clearly necessary to show the people how to petition their government through FOIA, how to fill out the FOIA request, how to appeal the denied FOIA request, how you must have them served. This is a valuable service I do for the community where I show these people how to do these things and how the process goes. So to say that I unnecessarily accompanied them is just ridiculous. And to say that, oh, he video recorded the staff. Newsflash, Chief, that's a constitutionally protected right. Therefore, Warmus placed the video on his YouTube channel, implicitly calling for actions from his followers. The word implicitly means without saying call them, I somehow magically made you guys call. That's what the chief is saying here. That I somehow magically made you guys want to exercise your constitutional rights. No, Chief, I do believe the fact that you guys all lied and you guys all conspired. I believe that's why people redress their grievances, because you're pissing the people off, Chief. Lying Lockport is pissing the people off. Maliciously prosecuting somebody is pissing the people off. I don't even have to tell nobody to call. As a matter of fact, people don't call. Don't call. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to call. Not because I'm telling them to, Chief, because you are pissing off the public that you swore an oath to protect these rights. What's wrong with you? And you're going to write this statement up with imaginary interpretations of the law? That's just ridiculous. Since then, the city of Lockport Police Department and the clerk's office has inundated with emails and phone calls and voicemails, many of which either inflict or expect threats of therein or determining and harassing content. Geez, are you harassing me right now with this malicious prosecution violation you guys are going after me with? I think we know who's the one doing the harassing, Chief. The police department non-emergency line has also been inundated with false calls. So people exercising their First Amendment right is false now, Chief. You swore an oath to uphold the right for people to exercise their constitutional rights. They have a right to make these calls. I don't see nothing false about them. Even a robo-dialer, Oh no, somebody sent a robo dialer. I like the proof of that one because I call nonsense on that. You know, this is lying Lockport, so we can't take any much of this statement for much more than a grain of salt. They are caught in many times in their lies in their sworn affidavits. They have no problem lying. It is lying Lockport. And let me just, I want to add something about you know, since we're talking about redress of grievances, and he wants to blame me for this. Now, this is what I call classic gaslighting and blame shifting. We've all heard the term blame shifting. This chief is the king of blame shift right here. Let me just give you a good example, fam. When I went to the Capitol on J6, I entered it. I got arrested for doing so. It was a crime. The news reported that I got arrested for it. I went through the process. I came to my work the next day at my auto repair shop, and I had voicemails, a ton of them, threatening, awful voicemails, right? I had negative Google reviews on my business from people. All right. Now, let me ask you, Chief and Erie County fam, who do I blame for getting those phone calls? Who do I blame for getting those threatening emails? And who do I blame for the negative reviews on my voice or my Google review on my business? Who do I blame for that? Do I blame the news companies for producing the news and showing what happened that day and that I got arrested? Do I blame them for that? Or do I take responsibility for my own actions? I'll tell you what, I'm not going after CNN. I'm not going after NBC. I'm not going after the local news stations because they reported what happened. I'm going to take responsibility for what I did, and I'm going to listen to those phone calls. And you know what? It's not even a constitutional right for these people to redress their grievances to a private business like it is for you guys. So quit your blame shifting, Chief, about these phone calls. You want to lie on affidavits. If you guys want to lie and make lying Lockport, and people want to redress their grievances, don't blame me. It's time for you guys to take responsibility for your own actions. People redress their grievances because they're unhappy with their government. That's what the constitutional right is for. It's like freedom of speech and freedom of the press and freedom of religion. People don't need permission. It's not false for somebody to practice their religion. It's not false for somebody to speak their mind, and it's certainly not false for somebody to redress their grievances. And I don't in no way insinuate that people should do this, but it's time for you guys to take responsibility for your own actions and stop blaming me. As you've seen in the last little clip I just showed, how tickled that lady was to hear from people and get compliments. All right. So if you guys weren't lying Lockport and you did your job properly, maybe you guys would have got good redress. And you guys wouldn't be crying because the news reported what it was that happened. Let's go on here and see what he says. It is clear Warmus regularly incites these types of abuse on government and law enforcement employees in numerous Western New York and with his many followers. Oh, yeah. It's clear that I incite these things, right? It's not you. It wasn't lying Lockport. It wasn't the denying of a public records request for a stupid reason like body camera is not a public record because it's compiled for law enforcement purposes. Oh, they're not calling because they're pissed off at you. They're calling because I magically made you lie? I magically made you guys into lying Lockport? Oh, no, fam. They did this on their own. You guys need to start taking responsibility on your own. There's 35 right there on the list here. Some more blame shifting from Chief Abbott. The gaslighting, blame shifting, traitor, liar that he is. Talking about stuff that has nothing to do with this case. Let's go ahead and see here. 40, he says, further upon information and brief, Warmus publication of his video of the Rath building in January caused inundations of phone calls. Oh, here we go. Some more blame shifting. Another whole line of blame shifting where, you know, the county attorney didn't act like a jerk off. He didn't act like he owns the copy machines and he wouldn't do his job properly, called security on somebody peacefully exercising their constitutional rights. And all of a sudden, I'm the problem because Jeremy Toth acted like a jerk off. There's some more blame shifting. This dude's full of blame shifting, lying, corrupt, and corruption. It's disgusting, fam. This is his reaction to try to get the dismissal of the charges, so he doesn't have to give out that body camera footage of what he's trying to hide in the back room, the secret government lying, corruption that they have going upon. But 42 here is where we're really going to get into some gaslighting and some more lying. Lockport of Chief lying. Abbott. Warmus attempts to provoke government workers into arguments or acting in a way that gets him expelled from public buildings. Really? How do you explain all the past videos then, Chief? How do you explain when I walk into a town hall, a library, and I have a great interaction? And as a matter of fact, I've even shared some letters of recommendations that say that what I do is a public service, an invaluable public service. But you know who wouldn't consider transparency an invaluable resource? The government. Lying Lockport wouldn't. They would get exposed for lying, like in the last video where I exposed all the lies and the sworn affidavits with video proof. These people made lies with knowing I had video proof of it all. So he goes in here to say, I attempt to provoke government employees. Well, geez, how do you explain all them past videos? How do you explain the peaceful and great? How do you explain that lady getting redress where she got compliments and she was excited to hear from somebody from out of state nonetheless? It wasn't the people from in the state that she was impressed she got compliments. It was the people from out of state, which blows your opinion that out of state people don't matter, because when people get compliments from out of state, how excited was she to be to impress somebody doing her job as a public servant from a state or for a person she's never going to get to meet and never have an opportunity to impress, but she did, and she was more happy about that person from out of state. But here we go. He then posts his videos either implicitly or overtly calls for his followers to act. I have never, ever told somebody to call. I have never asked somebody to call. I don't expect people to call. If people want to exercise their constitutional right, as a matter of fact, I put a disclaimer in my thing that tells them that there's a fine line between peacefully exercising your right to redress your grievances to your government and making threats of harassment, threats of violence. And it says in there, let's take a look at that. Let's go ahead and take a look at that disclaimer. It specifically says here, if you do threats of harassment, you are not part of the movement. You are not helping with the movement. That's what it says. So let's go ahead and get back at this here. Thus, if the statements made by the Lockport employees in the labor department taken on police body camera footage were publicly released, these employees would undoubtedly be threatened and harassed by Warmus's supporters. Wait a minute, Chief. Are you admitting the fact, the reason that you're not releasing this body camera footage is because you know what they said on there would infuriate the citizens who pay these people to act professional? Is that what? Because that's what it pretty much, that's the way it reads. It would undoubtedly cause harassment by his supporters if they found out what these employees had to say in the back room. Now, that's pretty much an admission that you are hiding something, Chief, because what's wrong with transparency? What's wrong with releasing that body camera footage? Oh, you just admitted here that if you released it, it would infuriate the public. What did you call it? False right. It would cause people to, and my supporters to, use their false right to redress their grievances of the government. How ridiculous, Chief. You just admitted that you're covering something up. The denial of Warmus's FOIA request was made in good faith. It was made in good faith, Chief. What he's saying here is it's good faith to shield lying people so that he can make false documents and police reports, right? So he's going to protect them from lying so that in the future he can lie. And he calls that good faith, fam. This lying Lockport is as corrupt as the day is long, and is much longer than this video, guys. By not releasing this, it's going to prevent interference with law enforcement investigations, so that people can lie for his law enforcement investigations, because that's what he needs, because he's too busy lying and covering for people's lies. Further, Warmus requested to obtain body camera footage of a conversation between the police officer and employees of the labor department that not for public good. Oh, that's back. We're circling back to that private government, that secret government he's running over here, where, you know, he gets to lie, cover it up, so that in the future he can get people to lie some more for, you know, secret government. Such as, even if successful in petition of his litigation, he is not entitled to return attorney fees in this matter. So in 44 here, he's also saying that if the judge decides to give me this body camera footage because he wants to shield people from being able to lie in the future for his future law enforcement investigations, and he's admitting here that he knows his shit is bullshit, and he's calling out his bullshit, and he's telling the judge, I'm not entitled to attorney fees for having to take him to court because he wants to interpret law so he can lie in the future with a magical interpretation of, hey, if I release this body camera footage, it's going to infuriate the public to the point where people aren't going to lie for me anymore. So if you release it, I'm not going to get people to lie for me. So don't release it and don't give them attorney fees, because then it'll be even harder for me to cover stuff up and lie in the future. Lying Lockport, that's ridiculous. I am also aware of the court's desires of a copy of the records review in camera. I have provided the Deputy Corporal Counsel Jason with a copy of the police dated report on February 14th and the Axon audit trail of both Lockport Police regarding this matter. These records provide true and accurate copies of the request. All right. The court demanded that the Lockport Police, so the New York State Supreme Court judge in Erie County, because we took him to court in Erie County, demanded that they release the footage, and the judge said, I will look at the footage and I will decide if he can have it or not. All right. What the chief just said here is he provided everything but the footage, and he's expecting this to get dismissed, so he doesn't even have to comply with the judge, because he knows the judge is going to award it, because it's a public record, chief. You're a moron. What is wrong with you? Boy, Lockport never ceases to amaze and give up any you know. So I'm just giving them a shovel. I'm gonna let them keep digging themselves. I am requesting the petitioner's actions is dismissed in its entirety. So they wanted this to dismiss this so they can continue lying. This is some real lying BS stuff here. I make this affidavit under the pain and penalty of perjury. He went ahead and lied in his affidavit under perjury, but we all know the government's not going to hold him accountable for that. So let's just recap here. Chief wants to be able to lie to the public. He wants to be able to continue his lies and cover his lies so that people will lie to him in the future, fam. Please leave a comment and let me know what you guys think about that. That's some ridiculous ass crap right there. That's Chief Abbott lying Lockport.
We live in a society now where people want to record how they discipline their child. People that might get mad with this video is the people that probably already embarrassed their child. You can discipline your child in their room. Take something away from them. If they act up, well, I'm like, son, you can't play the game.
You pull the Constitution out of your pockets out here. Like that was supposed to prove something.
First Amendment, freedom of the press.
You have every right to film out here and there.
Your name is not Dan Erie County.
This isn't Erie County.
Yeah.
Sure it is. On here is Dan Erie County.
Legitimate? Maybe. Official? No.